Ryan Leonard, how are you doing? You
How
okay?
are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Thank
Good.
you so much for coming along. Where you got did you have a long trip up today, didn't you? Whereabouts are you right now?
No, I didn't actually travel. To be fair, I've got a little bit of a knock at the moment, so I'm not available for tomorrow. So I'm currently at home in my own house.
Oh, okay. Oh, at least you got out of the travel then.
Yeah, no, we played like 2 weeks ago, and I fractured like a bone in my knee. It's not bad. I'll be out for like a couple of weeks, so it's not like a bad injury, but it's just one of those where I missed like 2 or 3 games. Bit annoying, but it's not too bad.
Oh, well, I wish you a speedy recovery where that's concerned. If we take you right back to the very start of your career when you were at Plymouth, how old were you when you first ended up sort of playing for them?
Yeah, obviously I'm from Plymouth originally, so obviously I spent my whole life growing up from there. All my family lived down there, so it's a case of I think I played from like eight, so I got released when I was 18. Got released, went and did a few trials and went and looked at doing a few different opportunities. Looked at getting a normal job, as they say, and then yeah, Paul Sturrock came call and I managed to come on trial to Plymouth, to Southend, really. So it
Yeah.
was it was a strange old situation, but it was like you say, it was one where I left Plymouth. I got released from Plymouth at 18. And I kind of thought that was it, really. I kind of thought that might have been my football career over, and that might be me done.
Yeah, how tough was that? Because Plymouth's your team as well, wasn't it? So you supported and grew up watching. So to suddenly be sort of let go, just how hard is that to sort of overcome?
Yeah, it wasn't nice. Like you say, when you're that age, you're like 17, 18 at your hometown club. You think your kind of career's over. You don't really know what else you're going to be doing. Really, it was a difficult one, but it was one of those where you kind of have to have a lot of self confidence. I guess you have to have a lot of belief. It was probably one of the first times that I probably had a knockback, as they say. But yeah, it was something that I look back on now, and it kind of made me kind of a man. Really, it kind of made me who I am
Yeah.
as a person and as a footballer.
So would Paul Sturrock have known you from Plymouth? Is that where the link came for you to get the trial at Southend in the first place?
Yeah, yeah. So I was in the youth team when Paul the gaffer got was at Plymouth with the job at Plymouth, and he took me into. I was a youth team player. He let me train with the first team, and he was kind of one that was like bringing me up into the first team scenario. Traveling to games, things like that. And then yeah, he kind of obviously he finished the job there, didn't carry on, and went to Southend. And as I got released, I kind of knew him like through my dad and through my agent. He kind of said, "Look, do you want to come up and have a trial and train for or play a few games?" I think I did. I played a couple of games, trained for a little bit, and kind of it all went well. And obviously, I managed to stay with him. But yeah, to be fair, I owe a lot of my career down to Paul Sturrock, really. So which is a nice thing that he did and got me up there.
Yeah, it was quite some trial as well, wasn't it? I think you remember a goal from the halfway
Yeah,
line at Wakering, and then another worldie at Dartford, I think maybe. So
yeah.
there are a
Started at
couple of
I think it would go down as one of the best trials in history. I think it was a weird one. We had Dartford away. I think we had Dartford away. I scored. Then we had Great Wakering away, and then Braintree. I think so. That was my 3 games playing at right back, which don't get many games at right back anymore. But it was. I first came as a right back. Obviously managed to score 3 good goals and. In kind of as they say, like the rest is history. Really, obviously had a brilliant 7.5 years at the club and had a great time.
yeah. How do you look at those first few years? And was it tough settling into the Southend area after sort of being brought up in Plymouth and being so far away from home, or was that something that you relished?
No, I struggled. I think it's no hiding place. I think it's good to be honest about these things. I did struggle. It wasn't easy. Being 18 years old, always living at home, never being kind of in an area of new places and new things. I did struggle. Thankfully, I got taken in by Chris Barker and Graham Coughlin. They were the two main guys that kind of looked after me and helped me kind of build a life in the area and build my career.
And you lived with them for a bit as well, didn't you?
I lived with Coco, and I was really good friends with Bart because I knew him from Plymouth. And then I lived with Coco and Barks for 3 years. So kind of I think I was like 20, 21, and they were obviously a little bit older than me, so they kind of took me under their wing a little bit and kind of showed me the ropes in the area and just helped me really settle in. It was like having 2 older brothers, really. Like, if I'm honest, it
Yeah.
was it was a case of they looked after me and kind of showed me show me what to do. A few questionable cooking evenings we had in the house, but no, if it wasn't for, like you say, if it wasn't for those two, obviously it really helped me settle into the area and really helped me get to grips with my career. And like you say, it wasn't the easiest start. Obviously, I'm quite honest to admit that the first couple of years I probably didn't perform to a great level, but obviously I think it's fair to say that I think I'm being quite honest. After that, I kind of went on and made a good job of it, really.
Yeah, and it's when you moved into sort of midfield, wasn't it? Because you came as a right back and you were almost right wing for a while, but it was when that sort of central midfield position that it really sort of started to show what you could do. What do you remember about your first few games in that role?
Yeah, it was. I think Phil Brown put me in there at first. I was obviously trying to get in at right back. Sean Clahessy was kind of the main right back. He was performing really well when I first came. He was a flying right wing back, right back position. Obviously, I'd played a few games right midfield, and luckily I've always had like quite good pace, so it was kind of a way of I've kind of been able to fit in most positions in the game. Then Phil Brown obviously got the job, did pre-season, and he chucked me in at centre midfield, and it was one of those where I kind of took to it really well. It was a position I really enjoyed playing. It was sometimes I think things just fit, like it just seemed to fit in really well with Phil Brown as the manager, me playing midfield. We had a really settled team, a really settled squad, and it really seemed to help me in that position. I kind of learned as I played there, really. Obviously, I played there as a kid a little bit, but kind of playing in like men's football in League Two and things like that, it was a case of once I settled in there, it was a position that I thrived and really enjoyed playing. Yeah,
did you play there much before? Did you ever play there in the youth team, or you always been a right back?
No, I kind of mixed between centre midfield, right back, centre midfield. I started as a centre midfielder, ended up at right back, and got shifted. I never really was settled in either position. And it wasn't until then where I become really settled in midfield. Obviously playing 30, 40, 50 games a season there for 4 or 5 years. It was a case of I just got built confidence, really. I think confidence is a big part of it. It was a case of I kind of learnt the position, and like you say, I think Phil did a really good job over those 4 or 5 year period. I think he did a great job as manager, and we had a really good squad and a really good team.
Yeah, and we sort of came close to promotion, didn't we? We just missed out. I think we lost to Burton. I remember you scoring a good goal in that one. And then we sort of went back to the next year at Wembley. But it was tough that season. We had to overcome difficulties, didn't we? We had Morecambe on the last day and just managed to do it. What's your sort of recollection about that season and at Wembley as well? Yeah,
it was an interesting year. I think after the Morecambe game, I think I lived with Barry Core, Will Atkinson at the time, and travelling back from that game was probably one of the lowest points I can remember from one, the season, in two, probably parts of my career, to be honest. It was a case of, I remember we took a hell of a following up there. I must have took a couple of thousand fans up to Morecambe, which is crazy, really. Like, it's
long way.
But I remember going out for the warm-up on that last game. Obviously, we needed to win the game. And I think we already had like 1,500 fans in the stadium before we'd started the warm-up, and we kind of thought, right, here we go, this is serious. Obviously, it wasn't meant to be. I think we lost the game 3-1. We did.
Yeah.
And it wasn't meant to be that way. Obviously, we got home and we were low. To be fair, we were quite honest and say we were disappointed. We were gutted. We kind of thought we might have lost our opportunity, because obviously once you go into the playoffs, it becomes a lottery. We kind of missed the opportunity, and to be honest, it's looking back now, it's probably the happiest game we've ever lost. Now going into that playoff season was an incredible feeling. I think we had Stevenage home and away. Away first, sorry, and it was if I look back now, I don't know if people knew, but we were kind of struggling with quite a few injuries. Like, we had a few things in between the two playoff games. I think I hadn't trained for like 10 days between the two games because I was struggling with injury, and I just about passed the fitness test before the second leg. And managed to play, which obviously I was very pleased about. Obviously, Michael Timlin had it was incredible. Yeah, you've ever seen. It was a hell of a playoff campaign. Obviously, the second game going to extra time and winning that was amazing. And like you say, the final was. To be fair, it's one of the games I still see it on telly now. It still comes up on Sky Sports. They always seem to show the game, and thanks to our friend Joe Piggott, he kind of saved the day for it.
And stepping up to take the penalty as well. How did you feel? So I think you might have even been on penalty duty if we'd got one. I don't know, it was you or Ben Coker, wasn't it? If you'd got one in normal time that day. So had you been practicing them? Did you have confidence stepping up?
Yeah, I was on them during the game, to be fair, because obviously Barry was on them, missed in the semi-final, which happens. Like people miss penalties, it's one of those things. But I think he was kind of a big enough man to kind of say, look, I don't want to take one for the final, and I kind of said, look, I'm more than happy to take it. I'd love to take it if we got the chance. If I remember rightly, I think we should have had a penalty in the game.
Yeah, he got pushed, didn't he, in the area?
Yeah. I think Barry had a goal disallowed, which even to this day, we should have had a penalty, but. Yeah,
and that ref's in the Premier League now, so
is he really?
Yeah.
What do we know? But no, it's obviously. I think I took the third penalty. I think I don't know who took the first one. Someone scored the first one.
Pickup scored the first one in the shootout.
The first one. I think Cokes obviously missed the second one, and I took the third one. So, to be fair, a few people ask me about that now, and I can honestly say it's probably the most nervous I've ever been. It was kind of a position where it was almost like an out of body experience. I was going to take the penalty and I didn't really feel like I was there type thing. It was kind of, looking back now, I was shaking. Like I was so nervous kind of, and the way my penalty went, it only just went in. I think it went on the other side of the crossbar. So for a split second, I thought I'd missed. But yeah, like you say, looking back now, it was I'm not sure what it finished. You know what it finished with? 8-7 or something? Or 7?
Yeah, 7-6, something like that. Yeah, it seemed to go on for an awful long time, didn't it?
It did. It went on for ages. I think Adam Barrett took a penalty, and Kean Bolger took one of them.
Yeah.
Put him on the list. So once the centre half stopped taking it, yeah, obviously Bence was big for us back then as well. He was a huge part of that team, and like you say, I think once it got to penalties, I think everyone knew who was going to win the game. It was a case of we'd scored, Pigs had obviously got his goal, and we knew it was kind of written in the stars from there, really.
Yeah, and then when it came to leave Southend and Sheffield United, it seemed to take quite a long time to sort of go through, and that's another tough side of football, isn't it? When your future's up in the air, when you're not really too sure what's going to happen next. Was that a difficult time for you?
Yeah, of course. It was like you say, it was an opportunity for me to have the chance to move to Sheffield United, obviously a big club in a higher league. I kind of wanted to go. I made it quite clear. Obviously, I said, look, I've had an amazing time at Southend. I really enjoyed it. But I think if you speak to anyone in any job or in any walk of life, if you get the opportunity to push yourself and kind of go and play at the next level, you kind of want to test yourself and you want to kind of see where that can go. So yeah, it was a long drawn out process. There was obviously a few meetings with the chairman at the time and a few meetings with the manager. Obviously, it was one of those where it was a chance to go and play, like I say, at a high level. And don't get me wrong, I love my time at Southend. I would never change it. It's still a club that I still live in the area. Like, it's still a club that I always look out for on a daily basis, and I always obviously look out for the games. But for me, it was a chance to try and further my career and try and push myself at a high level. And like you say, I look back now, and obviously it was a good opportunity for me to take.
Yeah, Sheffield United, it didn't work out there, though, did it? How tough was that?
Yeah, obviously it didn't work out. It was kind of those where it just didn't fit. Obviously, I didn't fit the club didn't fit with me. It was disappointing. Obviously, I went there wanting. Obviously, I think it's difficult when you go from playing week in, week out, and you go and you're probably not playing week in, week out. Obviously, we had a bigger squad. We had good players. Yeah. You're not a mainstay in the team at that point. You kind of have to reprove yourself. And yeah, it was one of those where I couldn't really get a run of games, and when I did, it was like I say, we had so many good players, and in the Championship's such a tough league. You don't really get many opportunities to get a run of games in the team, and it didn't work for me. Obviously, I didn't overly settle in the area either. My wife and that didn't really settle down very well. We had a few off the field problems with a few different things, and it just didn't work. It was something that didn't quite happen, and obviously having the opportunity to come to Millwall, and obviously knowing a few of the people, it was one of those where I probably wanted to go and get some first team football. Yeah,
and it's gone well at Millwall. Seemingly, you seem to be sort of playing at a good level and a good club to be at.
Yeah, it's a brilliant club. Obviously, I know stereotypically, if people look on the outside, you think of Millwall, you think of obviously a lot of bad things, but the actual football club itself, the people behind the football club, and the people that run the club day to day, it's an amazing football club. I think the fact of it, I think it won the Community Club of the Year or something like that for 2 or 3 years running. So I think that just proves what a brilliant club it is to want to play for, and probably 2 for work for. And yeah, I think I'm here like 5 years now, and I think it's weird. I've struggled with injuries quite a bit the last couple of years, which I never had in the past. So it's quite frustrating, but as a club and as a group of players and management staff and behind the scenes, it's a brilliant club.
Yeah, heard you got quite a strict caretaker manager now, though. So it must be quite unusual to how that's all worked out.
No, it is. He's a bit strict now. Yeah. No, obviously
you can't call him John anymore.
No. Our relationship's changed a little bit. Obviously, it has to be a little bit more professional now. So he's no longer John. But no, obviously it was disappointing. Obviously, our manager left the other day, and Ads has got the job on a caretaker basis for the foreseeable future. I'm not sure what the situation is at the moment, but obviously he's taking the team tomorrow at Preston, and at the moment it's a bit all up in the air. It's like with new managers, you can never tell what the future holds. So, but yeah, it's like I say, the stage I'm at in my life and my career, I'm obviously really enjoying myself.
Yeah, and just finally, and it's a sad note to finish on, but obviously we're raising money for Mind and creating mental health awareness. And I know that obviously you were deeply impacted with Chris Barker. You mentioned him earlier on, just how much of an impact he had on you and how he was almost like an older brother to you. So that was heartbreaking what happened, doesn't it? It just goes to show you really don't know how much people are struggling.
100%. I think that's the biggest thing. You don't know what people are going through in their own lives. I think that's the biggest thing. We can all learn from different things that happen, obviously sad things that happen in life. It's a case of everyone's kind of fighting their own battle. Everyone's going through their own life and different challenges and things like that. So obviously I lived with Barks for like 4 or 5 years. We were close for 4 or 5 years, and obviously when the news broke and to find out what happened was hard to say. And for you guys, for you especially, to be doing what you're doing, mate, is amazing. It's brilliant that you're doing that. And yeah, like you say, it's a sad thing that's happened, and we have to kind of use it, and we have to try and look at the ways we can kind of learn from this and kind of be more honest, be more open, and speak to people. Like we often have meetings at Millwall. To be fair, we have people that come in and we talk about these things, and we say like the biggest lie people say in life is when people ask you, "Are you okay?" They say, "Yeah, I'm fine."
Yeah.
Well, people are not always fine. Like it's one of those where you never know what people are going through. So I think, like you say, the more people can reach out and talk to anyone, there's always someone to talk to, like you say. So yeah, brilliant to what you're doing, mate. I've got to say, it's really good.
Thank you. I've got to try and stay awake, but thanks for your words. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for all the memories watching Southend. So yeah, and I wish you all the best moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris. Good luck, mate. Thank you.